Hello and welcome to Warwick Marxists' latest series. In a world where we have Trump running wild in the US, where European Union is close to disintegration every day, and where the global economy is in a state of absolute crisis, we're trying to find the answers of what is a possible new society. How can we solve the great problems facing our planet, our society, the human race today? We're going to be arguing for the ideas of Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, Lenin, and Trotsky throughout this, hopefully, long and prosperous YouTube series. So, to start off, the topic of today is what socialism isn't. So there's this common misconception that Marxism and socialism, they're all about, taking away people's personal property. Marx says, abolish private property. Private property is theft. But does this mean we're coming for people's toothbrushes, their houses, their mother's jewellery? Are we, mad dogs in this sense? The answer is, of course, no. The answer is that we make a distinction between personal property and private property. In personal property, these are just things that me and you, we own. We have books, like Das Kapital. We have toothbrushes. We have houses. We have cars. We have all these, lovely things. Maybe some of us even have 2 or maybe 3 houses. But this is very different from private property. Private property is to do with how we produce. It's to do with the economic system. It's capital. It's inflow. It's being turned from money to commodity into more money. And this is what we mean by private property. In having private property, we have a system which creates these class imbalances, which creates workers and capitalists, which creates economic crisis, and which creates the social instability we're seeing today. What we say is have that private property socialised, that we are all in democratic control of how we have the means of production, how we produce, and how we guide our society forward economically. In capitalism, there's this common misconception that people's wages, they're determined by, how much work they put in, that the people who work hardest and longest are the people who deserve so much. Now, there's an element in truth in this. But in reality, wages are determined not from how much people work, but from how much the capitalist can get away with. How much, they can exploit the worker, they can lower their wage, they can increase their own profits. Workers and capitalists are in a constant antagonism between the capitalists living off the profit of the workers, off the profit of those who work in factories, of those who do cleaning, of those who work as doctors, in all services and industry, in trying to lower their working hours, in trying to decrease their wages, whilst workers want to increase their wages and increase their working hours. Therefore, it is, decrease their working hours, Therefore, capitalism is not determined how much you get paid, not how much by how much you produce or how much work you do, but by how much your capitalist wills. In socialism, the idea is that the workers are in control of the workplace, of wherever workplace that may be, services, industries, from the train drivers to the factory workers. And in this, they decide democratically on how the workplace should function, what should be produced, what next, who should be paid what. Well, the common response to this is, well, surely I will now decide to pay myself as much as possible. But, of course, in a democratic society, you can't cheat each other. If I try to pay myself more, then everyone else will see this and vote against it. Instead, we must judge each other fairly so we can benefit whilst everyone else, as everyone else does. In capitalism, we do not have this choice. In capitalism, we are under the tyranny of the bosses. We are under the decisions of capital, and all the workers have to do is withdraw their labour power and strike if they wish to increase their wages at all. This is the archetypal argument against socialism, the whole idea of human nature, that in some respect humans are naturally planned to be competitive. They will naturally, try and create an economic system based around competition and free markets and things like this. And a lot of these arguments, they have held weight. But let's examine, firstly, what is human nature? If we look over the 250,000 years in which humans have existed on the planet, if we consider all the people from Gandhi to Hitler to Genghis Khan, we see that human nature is anything but flexible, constantly in change, in motion. Marxist philosophy is based off the idea of dialectics, and dialectics says that things are in change, evolving, and constantly, turning from one thing to the other. This is the situation we have with human nature. And it's only in capitalism where we see, competition in the economic sphere become incredibly important. Now let's actually, even if we don't accept the argument, and we say, okay, well, humans naturally need some competitive vibe, why do it through an economic system which consistently proves itself to be inefficient, where we consistently are seeing low to little growth in the Western world and continued crisis? Why not simply explore these competitive elements of our personality through things like art, sports, film, debate, and just in games and competition in that respect? Why base the way we produce vital resources to live our productive powers to create new medicines and technologies around this idea? And instead go for one in which we can all benefit through increasing the productive powers of society. That is what socialism aims to do. It is true that capitalism, in the form of free markets and competition and private property, has achieved a humongous amount over its 250-year history. It has, built things far greater than the pyramids, achieved feats of unimaginable brilliance. Yet it has its limits. We see that actually in our current state, capitalism is in a constant state of crisis. Since 2008, we are seeing economic crisis in the Western world, in Britain, the European Union, America, Brazil, China, all throughout the African continent and all across the globe. World trade is at its lowest levels. World GDP growth is abysmally low, and with this we see increasing wealth inequality with a crisis which sees no way out. Attempts at things such as quantitative easing, low interest rates, austerity, have failed to restart the economy. And we see these contradictions of capitalism are written directly into the market model and can only be escaped through rationalising production, putting on a socialised basis, and having a socialist society. In fact, if we do not do this, things will only get worse. We already see the political effects of the economic crisis rising day by day. The disintegration of Europe, the troubles in the South China Sea, and of course the presidency of Donald J. Trump show the social crisis which is currently unraveling due to the capitalist economies. We are now in a position where it's either socialism or barbarism. We implore you to choose the former. Many on the left agree with our critiques of capitalism. They see the current world is, full of injustices. But why do we argue for such a radical change? Why do we argue for a revolutionary program? And the simple reason, it isn't because we're, obsessed with 1917. It isn't because we like violence and bloodshed and we like radical change. It's because fundamentally what we see in capitalism, the contradictions within it, are buried in the very nature of production for exchange, of having a system of private property where one group of people must sell their labour for a wage for another's to profit of it. This creates the class antagonisms. It creates imperialism, the wars of the 20th century and the wars of today. It creates the mass inequality we see, and it all rooted very much in these fundamental contradictions. There is nothing we could do to ever reform capitalism so the capitalist does not want to profit and the worker does not want a wage, and there is nothing we can do to make sure that profit and wage are not in an antagonistic relationship, are not constantly causing conflict with each other. For these reasons, we argue that one must be abolished. One side must overcome the other. It must take control of the economic system. The capitalist class are ultimately in the losing side. They argue for anarchy in distribution, anarchy in exchange. Also, we argue for rationalisation of it. They argue for increased wealth inequality in continued crisis. We argue for prosperity and for equality for everyone. This is what we mean by revolutionary socialism. We hope you've enjoyed this video. We're trying something new as Warwick Marxists Society. I am Thomas, President of the Society. We've special thanks to Jack, who's been doing the filming and managed to get this banner up, and Barnaby and Woody, who've been coming up with the intellectual legwork behind this. If you've enjoyed what you've heard here, please like, subscribe, share, and comment below. Also come to our meetings. They're every Thursday. The one we've got coming up just before this is Imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism, but just find it on all our social media. Again, tell us what you thought of this. We're really happy to have all the information, feedback, debate and discussion. And if you've really enjoyed this, consider joining a revolutionary communist movement today. I'm sure you won't regret it.